Our modern world. In the year 2026. What a time to be alive. Just think of all the things that are possible now. All the technology that you can use. All the places you can go. All accompanied by the peace that is present throughout the world. Okay, well, maybe not that last part. But for the rest, it's mostly true. And as you can see, I've tried to recreate our modern world as perfect as possible inside of WorldBox. And today, we're going to look in and try to see what the future holds for our planet. And of course, what better way to simulate all the complexities of reality than in a crappy little sandbox simulation game. So today, that is exactly what we will be doing, as we're going to be following what happens to humanity for the next 1,000 years. Of course, we're going to see what new technology they develop, what new shenanigans these guys get up to. But listen, I know my audience. That is not what you guys want to see. We are mainly going to be looking at what wars erupt here and who is going to be the next champion of the world, who is going to make the next great empire. So let's get right into it. As we click unpause here, we are in June of 2026. As we look into the world laws, you will see that pretty much all of the basic stuff is on. I'm trying to make this as realistic as possible, and we are going to let everything play out on its own. The only thing I've kind of done on my own here to make this more realistic is try to recreate the EU. However, I couldn't actually be bothered to look up who's in it and who's not. So yeah, this is what you're getting. But with that here, I just want to see what's going to happen these next few years. Looks like a ton of kingdoms are about to make a huge alliance here as we pass a year into our future. And actually, I'm noticing here, it appears that almost everybody is joining the EU. Central America, Colombia, even India joins too. We also see another big alliance has been made here called the Bodies of Fire, featuring a lot of African countries, Chile, Mexico, and China. I'm not gonna lie, this is getting very interesting very quickly here, but I'm not gonna nitpick over every single little change here. We do have 1,000 years to simulate after all. However, the only thing I want to stick around for and see is what the first war is going to be. Because remember, we are using WorldBox here to predict what the future is going to be like, and I'm sure that it'll be 100% accurate. And that first war has been declared. The no-go zone has declared war on Japan. And I know you probably don't know what the no-go zone is. That is just the nickname I gave for the Middle East for obvious reasons. But now that I'm thinking about it, why in the world would they go to war with Japan all the way over here? Oh yeah, and also not to mention, the Middle East is part of the EU with over 1,000 people and 800 soldiers, while Japan is over here on their own with literally 34 people. I think we can tell who's gonna win that one. But one thing I forgot to mention is that to make all of this even cooler and more realistic, it's obviously I have installed the Modern Box mod right here, which you guys have seen on this channel plenty of times before, but it means these kingdoms will slowly become modernized in both their buildings and military technology, such as making vehicles, guns, and of course, nuclear weapons too, and also drugs for whatever reason. I guess we just have to include that. But with that said, since we have so long to go, we are now going to simulate 250 years until we are a quarter of the way done with this challenge here. And for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to call that year 2250, and I'll see you guys then. And here we are at year 2250, roughly 250 years since our modern day. And I'm not going to hold you, our world looks almost exactly the same here. It's actually kind of shocking. I really kind of wonder why it is. Maybe these guys finally have chosen peace after all. It says there are currently no ongoing wars at all. And you know what? This probably has something to do with the alliances. Yep, looking at it here, nearly every country on the planet is a part of an alliance. It's actually easier to count the countries that are not in an alliance right now, such as Peru, Madagascar, New Zealand, the UK, because of course the UK still couldn't even get an alliance 200 years later, and a new kingdom called the Dobo Kingdom, which is kind of weird that they have the name kingdom on the name. So like if you look here, it's officially called the Dobo Kingdom. But they are where South Africa used to be, so it seems like they got replaced at some point. But looking at some of these other alliances, it looks like the US finally decided to join an alliance here, featuring them, Iran, Iraq, and Iran. Oh god, yeah, I don't think this is very realistic at all. Holy crap. There's an alliance over here kind of in the Middle East and Central Asia called Our Conclave, featuring Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, and Canada. Once again, all this crap is just kind of random, isn't it? But you know, also looking into some of these countries, I can't quite tell that they have really modernized that much so far. I mean, looking at America, all the houses just seem pretty normal. However, actually, now that I'm looking at it, pretty much every single citizen has a gun in their hand. Even coming over here and looking at the youngest person in the world, we can literally see that they are equipped with a Glock 17 and morphine. This got really weird quickly. Like in this image right here without context is pretty discerning. Hell, this image with context is already weird. What are we even doing here? But lastly, looking at these small changes that have happened throughout the world, I noticed that China is actually the one who ended up taking over Japan, and they also seem to annex North Korea as well, which I could actually see happening. And a kingdom has taken over right here by where Mozambique used to be, and you would probably not guess that it was Kazakhstan. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and sim another 250 years here to see what else has changed, and maybe even if some of these giant alliances finally decide to go to war with each other. So I'll see you guys at year 2500. And while you're watching this time lapse, I just want to mention that I'm now officially partnered with G Fuel. I actually ordered some of their products a few days ago right here. Just don't worry about what's inside of it. And their stuff is actually surprisingly good for you, so I recommend you go check it out for yourself. And if you do decide to order, use code Jackal at checkout or the link in the description for a surprisingly good 30% off. But anyway, back to the video. And here we are at year 2500. As the world has gotten sufficiently crazy here, as we can see, we're actually caught in the middle of 5 nukes going off in a row right now. Over here by the US and Canada, who is no longer Canada and has instead been inhabited by magical blob creatures with hats. Remember that thing I said earlier about how I thought this was going to be realistic? Not quite sure I believe that anymore. But regardless, somehow the US is still alive with just 6 people, and they have become so militarized. They have 5 watchtowers, a little bit of an army. I almost feel bad for them. Alaska has gone independent, now being called the Rar Dynasty. I'll just rename them to the Alaskan Federation. And a lot of weird things have happened, like Southeast Asia taking over Greenland, which is certainly a sentence to be said, not even to mentioning that they're actually very modern on Greenland. Things are looking great here, but the most concerning thing is that actual Southeast Asia doesn't even exist anymore. Now they have just permanently moved up here. But the main thing I kind of want to see here is it looks like Russia has been taken over by somebody. They don't show their name anymore, but I can't directly see who, so let's just check. Oh god. Oh no. They're back. And we all know who exactly I'm talking about here. Well, that's totally not concerning at all. Moving swiftly onward, we can see that India has expanded a bit. The Middle East has now spread all over Central Asia. The Democratic Republic of the Congo has actually grown quite a bit in size. And there are still a few new kingdoms sprinkled in here and there every so often. Somehow South America has been almost completely fine this whole time. I believe they went to war at some point, but looking at them, they look pretty modernized. Oh, well, Colombia got nuked at some point, but who really even cares about that? Oh, but also it appears that part of Canada has now been colonized by Bolivia, which is interesting to see. But lastly, even though the world's still in chaos, let's just take a look at the alliances that still exist here. Surprisingly, the EU still actually exists here, which is now way bigger and pretty much includes all of Afro-Eurasia over here. And it seems like the US has actually joined a new alliance here. Probably can't be much worse than the last one they were in, but looking into it, it includes them, Alaska, Papua New Guinea, Mexico, and China. Might be a bit worse than the last one. But anyway, with that said, we are now halfway done. Almost 500 years have passed since our modern day. And you know, the world is still kind of recognizable, but things are about to get even crazier. So let's just sim the next 250 years until we are 3/4 the way done at year 2750. And here we are 250 years later. But surprisingly, there are still a bunch of countries that I can recognize here. I genuinely thought at this point the entire world would just be completely random countries or just gone and there was nothing left at all. So right now we have about a little bit of a mix of that because there have been so many nuclear weapons dropped. Literally like over half of this world has just been reduced to nuclear ash. The most glaring thing is that Russia finally got their independence again. Now they're on their own called Kokoba. Finland has just got longer. I don't know, that's pretty weird. France is now inhabited solely by skeletons, which, you know, probably sounds about right. And the US and Mexico have been taken over by the Middle East. I could probably make some like quippy political metaphor about this, but like I genuinely am just not smart enough to do something like that. And it looks like Canada has been taken over by possibly a new kingdom. Oh no, it's Egypt, because of course they have, why wouldn't they? As a matter of fact, they have also taken over Brazil too. I didn't realize the Egyptian Empire was back here, huh? Ironically, Australia is still alive after all this time, which is, you know, pretty realistic. I mean, who would want to take them over anyway? But looking at alliances here, geez, the EU is still alive, and literally almost the entire world is in it at this point, which is impressive because usually alliances in this game just simply don't last that long. Also, I like how New Zealand has literally just been chilling here the entire time doing nothing. I mean, they're too small for really anything to happen, but they've somehow been taken over by dwarfs now. Actually, looking into their subspecies breakdown, it's even weirder as there's one sapient crab, a dwarf, a sapient scorpion, and an elf. I just know for a fact those four guys are like absolutely best friends. They would make a killer sitcom. But with that, that is really all that is going on here 750 years later. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that none of us would still be alive at this point in real life. But anyway, now we are going to sim the final leg. We're going to sim a little over 250 years so that we are exactly 1,000 years since our modern day. And we're going to see what the final shape of the world looks like. So I'll see you guys at year 3026. And here we are at year 3026, exactly 1,000 years since our modern day. And looking at our modern world, it's all Egypt. Literally all of it. They have taken over the entire world. I definitely did not expect this at the very start. Zooming in on them, they have created one of the most advanced societies possible in WorldBox, at least in the parts where they're not covered by total nuclear radiation and destruction. And they're quite literally one of 4 modern day countries that still exist. We have Egypt, India, Korea over here, and New Zealand, who have just been so boring this entire time that no one has even bothered trying to take them. But now, unfortunately, they're down to 3 people. Wait, hold up. Let's see. Oh, man, they lost the sapient elf. I guess they had the right amount of the script of the sitcom. Or just kill them off, I guess. That'd be pretty cool, too. But with that, this is 100% without a shadow of a doubt what the world will look like 1,000 years from today. I guess go ahead and move to Egypt. Especially because in total 367 AI nukes were dropped. But anyway, if you made it this far in the video, clearly I did something to entertain you. So I appreciate it if you would click like and subscribe and also join my Discord. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Farewell.